Hello and welcome back for more solo board gaming. My name is Shuffles, and today we're going to take a look at Static. We're going to do a quick unboxing video. This is one of the newer Gearlocs from Chip Theory Games for Too Many Bones. So this one is a martial artist, and he plays very uniquely compared to any of the other Gearlocs I have. From what I know about him, he has this inner peace system. So he will take some passive turns where he's just rolling defense dice or just skills, and that builds his inner peace, which is like this energy he can use to kind of unleash on a later turn with massive attacks. So that sounds really exciting to me. From the artwork here, you can see he's got these bracers on his wrists and also on, I guess, around his ankles too, that seem to be just coursing with electricity. So it looks like you'll be able to electrocute enemies. He just looks really fun. So super excited to get him on the table. Let's go ahead and open the box. We'll see what's inside, take a look at the skills and backup plan. So this is Static the Brawler. Go ahead and get this plastic off. This is one of the add-on characters that you can get. It's compatible with any version of Too Many Bones, but it doesn't come with any of the versions of Too Many Bones. This is just one that's standalone. So let's get the box flipped over. We'll take a look at the back. Kind of gives you a preview of what's in it, some more artwork, and we'll read the little blurb about Static. So this ebullient, muscle-bound Gearloc might not attack every turn, but when he does, look out. The first playable martial artist in Too Many Bones, Static can meditate on turns when he doesn't deal damage, allowing him to save up dex and unleash blistering attacks when the time is right. Even when not dealing damage, he's a formidable foe, with fighting styles that manipulate his stats, break past enemy defense, and direct baddies to hurt each other. That sounds awesome. We like when we're directing baddies to hurt each other. It's awfully fun when Stanza does it, so hope this will be just as fun. Got some more artwork. This one was released around the time that Unbreakable came out, so we got some lava theme. I only have Undertow personally, so I have not had a chance to play Unbreakable. Let's get all the dice and chips out. So these will be all of his skill dice, his initiative dice, and then for the stats, he's got his Gearloc chip and the two, I guess these are for the electrocuting ability. We'll check that out in just a minute. Take a look at the mat. All right. Pretty standard stuff for Gearloc. They come with their own neoprene mat. You'll have slots for a backup plan. He's got 4 active slots and 2 locked. And then his base stats, looks like he's going to be a little tanky to start with 5 health, but only that 1 attack dice. So that'll be interesting to see how the inner peace works with that, with only having 1 attack. Starts with 2 defense and 2 dexterity, and then we'll go over his innate and innate +1 in just a minute. Everything else on the mat will be related to all of his skill dice. All right, so this will give us a breakdown of all of these skill dice, what they are called, and what all the symbols on the dice translate to. We want to go over this side. This will tell us give us a breakdown of the backup plan. So it looks like there's nothing that goes on with 1 bone. But once you get to 2 bones, you've got some options. So Energize, that'll increase Knuckle Zappers die by 1. So I guess the Knuckle Zappers would be, because that's a consumable, and that'll be a counter style. All right. Current Shield, place a 2 defense die in any Gearloc's active slot. So if we were playing cooperatively, we could do this with anyone, but it'll work on him as well. That's for 3 bones. For 4 bones, we can exhaust 4 attack or 4 defense dice. I guess that's either or from the supply, and for each die exhausted, we'll place an untargetable effect die on any Gearloc. All Right, and then 5 overclock. Place a stun effect die on an electrified baddie. Then remove and exhaust the electrified chip. And we can't use that for the rest of the battle. That stun's a big deal, buys you a turn. All right, and then for 6 bones, like any other Gearloc, we can upgrade to an 8+1. So let's go over the innates real quick. He's got Meditative Warrior. After each recovery phase, he may roll 3 defense die from the supply. Add all bones rolled to his backup plan and return the rest to the supply. And those will remain in the backup plan for use in the next battle. So that's cool. So he'll go into the next battle, hopefully with his backup plan already rolling along. And then if we're able to upgrade to an 8+1 Meditative Master, when performing Meditative Warrior, we roll 5 defense dice instead of 3. So it'll be much more likely to get that bonus going in. And lastly, we're not going to cover all the static details, but we'll talk about the recommended strategies from Chip Theory. So for stats, it says don't be fooled by the low attack and dex. He doesn't need them as much as you may think. Invest heavily in defense with just a little dex and HP to boot, as Static can create his own opportunities for large turns and large attacks via his skills. And for skills, the longer you stay alive, the bigger your potential damage burst using Perseverance. Mobility is key, so try investing in the Kinesiologist line and grabbing an early Cibron style to help with your non-attack board control. Finally, don't sleep on Knuckle Zappers. Building them up early with your backup plan can pay dividends in key moments. That's interesting. I was wondering if the movement would come into play more. Usually it's not super important, especially in a solo game. But with him taking turns off from attacking, positioning might become a big deal. All right, so let's pop this open. There we go. We've got his Gearloc chip. Try to get that a little bit closer. And the upgraded side with the stars. And then the 2 Electrify chips. Guess they're the same on both sides. These will slot under whatever baddie is electrified. Got his stat dice. And the initiative dice here. Initiative die. And then 16 skills. Let's take a look at what's going to be on the mat from the jump. He's going to start with Inner Peace and Transcendence. I believe those are both counters. Inner Peace a counter. Yeah, Transcendence is a counter. We'll go over those because I think those are the most important ones and the most unique for Static. So Inner Peace says at the start of your turn, decrease by any amount to increase your dex by the same amount this turn. So if you store that up, you can spend it and take a big turn with lots of action since he only starts with 2 dexterity. Anytime on your turn, decrease by 3 to increase Transcendence by 1. So if you're able to stock up Inner Peace, spend 3, and that'll buy you a Transcendence. At the end of your turn, increase Inner Peace by 1 if you rolled no attack dice this turn, and by 1 more if you rolled only defense dice. So you can still use skills and increase it by 1. If you just roll defense, you'll increase it by 2. And then Transcendence, you spend this on your turn to unexhaust one of your skill dice. You can decrease it by 2 to remove 1 status effect die from yourself. And then Perseverance, which you don't start with, I don't think. No. So Perseverance set to 0 and gained at the start of your turn, decrease by any amount to increase your attack stat by the same amount this turn. So you kind of have to build up all 3 to be able to unleash that really big attack. That sounds super cool. The other thing I was curious about was the Knuckle Zappers. Let's figure out what those are. I think that'll do it. So here's Knuckle Zappers and Electrified chips. Static has 2 Electrified chips that would be placed near the mat. Knuckle Zappers starts on the mat, set to 0. So he does start with Knuckle Zappers as well. So there'll be 3 dice on here from the beginning. Static can increase Knuckle Zappers by 1 through the use of his Energize backup plan. Can also use a Fortunate Discovery loot to increase Knuckle Zappers to max. At the end of his turn, it can decrease this die by whatever amount to electrify his target, as long as it's not a tyrant. Electrifying a baddie places one of Static's electrified chips in the baddie's HP stack. The chip will be placed the number of health chips up from the bottom based on number the Knuckle Zappers is decreased by. Therefore, there should be the same number of health chips under the electrified chip as the die is decreased by. A baddie with an electrified chip in their HP stack is considered electrified. HP is removed from electrified baddies as normal. When there are no health chips beneath the electrified chip, it's immediately returned to static and the baddie is no longer electrified. So it sounds like you're spending more of your Knuckle Zappers to keep the enemy electrified for longer. Because as the health ticks off of them, it will drop off sooner if you don't spend more. While a baddie is electrified, its attack stat is reduced by 1, and anytime it's dealt attack damage, it deals 1 damage to an adjacent baddie if possible. Okay, well, this sounds awesome. I think that's going to do it. We'll go ahead and just take a quick look at some of the dice. We'll get these out, kind of slot them in where they go, and see what everything actually is. We have all of the dice slotted in now, and I've zoomed in a little bit so you can get a better look at the static mat. And this is everything that comes in the box other than the little chip tray or dice tray. So we got the box, we've got all the dice, we've got the stat dice, Static's Gearloc chip, 2 electrified chips, and the initiative die, and then the skill sheet and breakdown for Static. So that's going to do it for this video. Be on the lookout. I'm going to be doing a playthrough with Static, and that'll be hitting sometime in July. And I'll be back soon with more solo board gaming content. Thank you so much for watching.